Ooh. Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV with my co-host Jeremy Scipio
What's going on, people?
and the homeboy. You know what I'm saying? The homeboy. Like, man, I gotta break it down. When I first heard you spin, I felt like somebody turned me on to something. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dang. And it's a trip, Jeremy, because Kaleem is one of the most humble dudes in the like, dude, he don't toot his horn, he don't do nothing, but get on them turntables.
Hey,
And it's crazy because not only does he play incredible house music, neo soul, old school hip hop, a little bit of secular hip hop, but he can kind of he can do like all of that, like within what he does. But anyway, man, he's one of my favorite. So what's up, Kaleem, man? I'm glad to have you down with the situation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. I'm looking forward to a spirited and I guess informative conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we gonna start. What city are you from?
I am born in Newark, New Jersey. Right after that, my family moved to the suburbs, or maybe a few feet out of town, into a new suburb called Irvington, New Jersey. But it's the same county, pretty much the same place. And I grew up there, did, all my public school years there, all the grinding the teeth and all of that stuff.
So, it's a trip because I knew you were from the East Coast and I just thought it was New York. You know what I'm saying? But I never put it to New Jersey. The closest I was on the New Jersey side of a river. I don't know which river or whatever, but on New Jersey side. But I felt like I was in a scene from Luke Cage, though. Like whatever the shot was, it's that shot from Jersey looking over at New York, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah, man. Jersey is an interesting place now. A lot of things are being shot there. Lionsgate has a studio opening there in Newark. But a lot of shows shoot in Jersey, like the Wu-Tang American Saga, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah, it's Canada within the United States.
There you go. There you go. Man, but on the opposite side of the coin, they shot New Jersey Drive in New York.
Oh, okay.
Tidbit.
Is that a problem? It's a bad thing?
Yeah, I mean, at the time, the mayor, Sharp James, didn't want that film, representing Newark in a negative light. So he just didn't allow it. I mean, it turns out the movie wasn't all that, but,
Well, when was the first time you heard hip hop and what was the song?
I can give you a couple of stories, but I'll try and be honest if I remember. It was probably 82. I got woken up probably like 2 a.m. My oldest sister, or maybe even both of my sisters, are listening to WHBI, which is the first station in New York to have hip hop shows. And we were listening to world famous Supreme Team show. I couldn't tell you what was playing, but I just remember waking up and seeing them glued to the radio, like recording, like, ain't no way we gonna get this outside of these hours. So, you got to get up and experience this too.
Dude, that's so crazy you mentioned that, because okay, in LA we had K-Day.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, K-Day, the level of ambition you had to have to listen to K-Day in order to get some hip hop the same level of ambition you'd have to have in, let's say, 1985. You're watching a TV that has an antenna, no cable, and you're trying to watch something on channel 3. You know what I'm saying? It's like you had to have passion to make it through the whole process. It wasn't just a given. So I know you might not remember, but when you were listening to the world famous Supreme Team, that show, was it like on AM and hella staticky, or was it something that you like? It was audible.
It was audible.
Okay.
They were definitely on the FM station.
Okay.
And actually, Mr. Magic started on that station and then moved over to WBLS. So they kind of had it, they kind of had it easy. There were subsequent shows that were a little bit further down the dial, like Stretch and Bobbito, where you kind of had to know it was there and really fine tune the dial to catch, and a few other college stations like that. But for the most part, we had it easy. We had Kiss FM, WBLS, and then another one in between that were on like very powerful FM stations. So I'm talking about, we're talking from 82, through with strong signal. So everybody and this is the tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and probably elsewhere that was able to be served.
Nah, that's dope. So right now with what we're dealing in, what's your favorite medium to consume music?
Man, I would love to still say the radio, because as a kid, and I don't have it much anymore, but I had an imagination. So I could literally sit in front of the box and see whatever, I'm focusing on. If I'm listening to the song, I might see the lyrics or see the, somewhat of an image, and then, videos came into play. But before then, I used to kind of like zone out and kind of, imagine what this person might look like, what this environment might smell like, or whatever, things like that. But right now, I want to say it's the internet, because that's where I get all my music from. I kind of tend to not watch that many videos, but I will if I'm very interested.
Tube of the U.
Yeah. All right. That university.
I'm gonna ask you one more quick one before we go into the interview, because it just kind of hit me when you heard Kendrick's "To Pimp a Butterfly." Who did you think that album was speaking to?
Off the cuff, the first thing I said was, "Oh, this harkens back to 2003 to 2005 neo soul musically."
Mm-hmm.
Lyrically, I can't honestly say. I think he's speaking to his generation, but his style always harkens a little bit older.
What I felt when I heard it, because he was like one of the first contemporary artists of that space that I was able to kind of understand. Okay. I could deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So I felt that he was speaking to like his mother, like he was speaking to the older people, but there was something in there for the younger people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he spoke on it. He said the album's about hope. You know what I mean? Like every song had is supposed to be like a positive message to look forward to stuff. And specifically, certain songs were made for like friends that he knew that was in prison.
Oh wow! You know something funny? I was in Leimert Park, and I went to go and Aki Bamboo went to go and get me some Jamaican food one night, and at the world stage, they were having Terrace Martin and a couple people come through and perform and jam and all that. And so I went by to just kind of see the commotion and everything. And so it's so funny because I know Joseph Lineberg from like when he was in Madcap, like he was the trumpet playing, rapped a little bit, he, you know, big hair, like tall hat, just whatever. And I saw him go in for a minute when someone was, I want to say he sat down at the piano and he messed with the piano for a minute. And then there was this thing that you could kind of like make a beat on, it was like a square box, but kind of like a drum. So he went from the piano to on that, but it was before the show had started. But he was just kind of, you know, in there, just whatever. And then when he left, he came outside and he was just kind of kicking it. And I was like, you know, I think I said I was either friends with him or I followed him on Instagram or something like that. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, dude, do you produce music? I'm funny as hell. I was like, because I couldn't catch it, but I knew him. Like, me seeing the pictures he had online was like 1993 Joseph Lineberg, like Madcap. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't connecting to all that was going on now. And then after we spoke, we ended up hooking up later, and I actually interviewed him on Splendid. And he broke down, I want to say his production name is Love Dragon or something like that. But anyway, he broke down the story of how he got involved in the Pimp a Butterfly and how he was just around. Terrace had asked him to come down or whatever. He was around hanging out. And then he was about to leave one night. And then Kendrick was like, nah, man, you should, you know, stay with it. And then from that went to him helping, I guess, producing on, you know, a couple of tracks on that album or whatever, but it was pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that album holds a special place in my heart. I just that time period was like amazing. I actually worked on what was that song? Oh, the music video for This Dick Ain't Free. That was the first time I met him. Was it the first time? Yeah, it was the first time I met him. But what's your favorite genre of music outside of hip hop?
I'm gonna give you the answer I've been given since the Black Planet days. Black, Black is the answer.
Hey.
Black, and black.
As long as we're involved, I don't care, you know what I mean, what box it fits in. You know what I mean? Because we're gonna work it out from there. So, you know, like as a kid, I grew up, you know, in Jersey. The main music is like kind of disco-y, soulful house, then hip hop, you know, but the funk is the predecessor to all of that. You got the Caribbean influence with a whole bunch of different styles of music. You know, you got the Latino influences with, you know, things that kind of fit the same tempo or whatever, but it might be a different language. It's all Black music, you know, so I can't even tell you when I start to like play a set. It depends on where I'm at, obviously, in my audience, but I'm gonna just play Black. You know what I mean? Like, it's always kind of interesting, shocking some of your friends, and it's like, oh, I thought you was gonna play hip hop tonight or something like that. And it's just like, what's the difference? It's Black.
Oh man.
What's up to that?
Yeah, that's that's something. That's something. So tell me this. Did you resonate more to hip hop music or like Rare Grooves?
Ooh, good question. I resonated way more with hip hop because the Rare Grooves, honestly, I don't think we heard until after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, certain records like this Roy Ayers record right here, Running Away, is kind of like a disco record. So that was playing in the clubs. Then that was sampled by a Tribe Called Quest for like, I think they first single.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that made sense. But it wasn't like we heard all those, you know, deep James Brown records or a lot of things like that beforehand. It wasn't until hip hop, you know, put certain songs, you know, in the mix that you started hearing, you know, Simon Day or
Man.
anything that's like really a rare groove. If hip hop didn't touch it, the radio wasn't playing it. That's for sure. That's for sure. Like we had one guy, Frankie Crocker, and I mean, that's hip hop. I don't care what, you know, the arguments say or whatever, but Frankie was the dude who created what was called urban radio on WBLS because he wanted to introduce all kinds of music to a Black audience and then take that mainstream. So records like Soul Makossa, you know, which are from Africa, that stuff got broken in New York. The same with like Fela Kuti and things like that. What were the chances anybody else was going to play that? You know, he took the chances. And, you know, later on, the kids, like, you know, took that and did what they did with it in hip hop. But, you know, if it wasn't the precursors or for some DJs like Frankie, none of that stuff would have seen the light of day. You know, maybe on the street, but who knows?
Yeah, that's dope. Speaking of that, man, I gotta honor our homeboy, you know, Al Jackson, Raise My Cup, you know, rest in peace. Man, Al was so special, and what he was a part of was so special. And it was interesting because the first time that I went to a Soul Children party was probably about 91, I want to say, and it was over off of Pico. It was like off of Pico. Man, I could be wrong, man. So La Brea, it was off of Pico between La Brea and Crenshaw. La Brea and Crenshaw? Yeah, I want to say La Brea and Crenshaw. Something around that's my mind. But it was a house party that was like a house party from like an old 70s movie. Like it was so cool. It was like so they were playing like Here My Dear, you know what I'm saying? And it was young kids though. Like we were probably like 21 years old. To date myself, we were like 21 years old and something like that. And so you're at a party where somebody's like rocking Here My Dear and rocking like Roy Ayers and all that kind of stuff. And I had never seen like anybody play music like that before. It was the same way people like talk about how they got turned out by hip hop, like me getting turned out seeing like a group of Black kids, Soul Children, you know, they got their own thing, they throw their own parties, even though it's semi the hood, it's not any knuckleheadish type stuff going on. And like you could have like a really, you know, you could have a really good time. But Al was somebody who I looked at back then almost like a bigger than life type person. Like it was like, oh, that's Al. I didn't know him as Al, it was Al Jackson, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay. Then I developed a relationship with him doing merch for Juju. And the one thing that I'll say is Al brought the best out of me. I promise you he did. Like and it's funny, I talked to Big Boy's sister, Nicole, and she worked at JC Penney's with Al, and she called him Alan. She worked at JC Penney's with Al, like, man, it had to be like in the like late 80s coming into 90 or whatever. And she was like, and I would talk to her, I'm like, man, Al was so pristine. And I was like, if it was anybody else, and he was very particular. And I was like, man, if it was anybody else, I really didn't have the patience. But Al would just have a way of just saying, like, come on, man, it got, it got to be at this level because it represents us. And so I'll say, like, he was one of the clients that kind of made me step my game up. And then speaking of Al's relationship to the Soul Children, his collective, the thing that was very impressive with me about the Soul Children is that they were all like elementary school, junior high school friends. And it was about like 8 of them. And whenever there was a decision that needed to be made, I'm like, okay, Al, just approve it and let me do my thizzle. Al's like, nah, man, that's not how we do it. And I'm like, but man, I just need to. He said, nah, we got to run up the flagpole. And then I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, 8 people on a phone conversation to just, whatever. But yeah, I felt that I needed to praise Al's name, man, because when I see you, and that's probably one of the reasons I haven't come out, you know what I'm saying, to see you spin and whatnot, because it's, it's still fresh, you know what I'm saying? It's still fresh. But you and Al Jackson are 2 of the best things that I've gotten out of LA, for real. Like, man, like you guys DJing, and it's crazy because you're not Hollywood for sure, and you've never really mixed into that whole thing, and I think that that's dope. I think it's dope because I know that if I came to check you this weekend, nobody would control you. Nobody would have you playing, whatever. You'd straight up be the DJ that understands that, man, I'm a DJ. I'm here to play music. That's what I do. I might take a little request here and there, but, you're going to get what I'm about to.
Ooh, boy. Well, man, God bless Al, man. I'm so honored to have been able to stand in his shadow. You know what I mean? Like, I want to say maybe in the 90s, maybe 96, I went to a Soul Children event on Adams Boulevard, not far from where I am presently.
It was Adams. It wasn't Pico. I spin the record back.
Yeah, and it was just west of La Brea. I remember taking a bus there. Yep. I used to. And I hadn't met Al at the time. I don't think I met Al for another maybe 6 years or something. But it's like minds just gravitate towards each other, by hook or crook, by the drum, as I say. So that brother definitely influenced me to like step up and present my my DJ offerings and stuff like that. Him and others, I want to give credit to, like Daz and Rob One, and definitely Mark Love. Like all of those cats, man, were very distinct in presenting an authentic representation of themselves, of hip hop, of Black music in general. And they did it for the people. You know what I mean? A lot of times you can watch a DJ and you can tell if they're trying to impress the crowd or if they're playing for themselves only. You know what I mean? It's like, man, nah, you kind of got to rock the room too. But yeah, Al is that's a big loss, man.
Yeah,
that's a big loss. So I mean, trust me, we're still, trying to collect ourselves after this.
Yeah,
and I really think we need to do more in preserving his legacy.
Yeah. Well, anybody watching, if you go to Juju Social Club on Instagram, that's where they continue the legacy of Juju with man. I do not know. I don't want to say his real name, but Christy Lomax's production partner. What's his DJ name? Or
The crew is called the Trilaterals. So let's just
okay, we'll down make it easy. Yep. Yeah, the Trilaterals. And yeah, they rock it. So they still have a version of Juju. It goes down not too far from Crenshaw and Jefferson. And got some bomb jerk chicken. You know what I'm saying? One time I went because I felt obligated to go because the Juju, they are family. Like, man, Al pulled me into the circle, and it's one of those things that we're like, man, if you're blessed enough to be part in some capacity of something, then it's like you just have to, pay homage to it. So one time was some homage, and then the second time I had to come back and get that jerk chicken one more again. You know what I'm saying? And be gluttonous.
They actually promoted on the page, so you actually like literally it's a place to create and dance and perform and uplift, and they got bomb food. It's just facts.
Yeah,
like facts.
Yeah. Shame on me and the gluttony.
Nah,
you're a food.
Trust me. When Juju was in Lamert, I don't think I gave any cares. I was going next door to the kitchen to get like doggone maybe a whole fried chicken and dip.
You know what I'm saying? I gotta hang out with my brother Kaleem, man. Shame on me, man. Shame on me. So with that being said, you coming from New Jersey, getting a full spectrum of hip hop, being blessed enough to hear it in FM, which, like, man, I don't know what we would have done if we could hear if we could have heard hip hop in LA without the Channel 3 TV static going on and all that old crazy stuff. But what was your favorite hip hop movie?
Man, my favorite one is the realest one, Wild Style.
Hey, I think it's the number one answer, if I'm not mistaken.
It better be.
Or B Street.
I mean, yeah. I can see I can see people saying Beat Street, and that's fine, but anything that's not Wild Style has an element of, Hollywood production to it that's inauthentic to the storyline.
Busy B.
Wild Style it's got some some story stuff to it. Don't get me wrong, but wow. You got the people, the places, you know what I mean? You got that's an artifact right there, I was fortunate enough to go and see it opening weekend at the Castle Theater in Irvington, New Jersey on a Sunday. And I remember the basketball court scene. Once Kev said, "Eat your ass up like a steak and take," you could forget the next 20 minutes of the movie because the crowd is going crazy. That was the coldest line ever. And like, the thing I love about the theater, as a kid is like you in a theater with, what I mean, your neighbors, your community. So it's going to be rowdy and you just got to accept that. It ain't no, oh, shh, be quiet. Nah, we talking to the screen. You know what I mean? And this time we got our own movie that's doggone a concert. Please. You know what I mean? People probably standing up in the aisles. You know what I mean? So you don't get that from nothing but Wild Style, I don't think.
Decode that lyric for me. From being from California, I have no idea what he was talking about.
Okay, man, you asked the right person. So eat your ass up. You got that. That's like a verbal threat.
Yeah.
Like a steak and take. A steak and take is what? What do you think that is?
I have no idea. Fast food?
It's like a steak.
It's like a steakum, but it's the first steakum. So it's created by some brothers from the Nation of Islam, like the bean pie. So their version of the steak sandwich was the steak and take. So that's a business. That's actually a brand.
Was it a beef sandwich?
Yeah, it's what you would say a steakum with steak and onions in a French roll. After that they had the whaler, which is the fish sandwich, and that's all from Nation of Islam restaurants.
Okay.
I want to say somewhere, and I don't know what it is, but you can see that there's steak and take signage in some films, I believe. But that's what it is, and it's weird. I just thought about that because I watched Wild Style back in August, that most people don't know what they're even referencing. But the crowd went apeshit because they knew. He dressed up like a steak and take. It's like, wait, he said what? Crazy. It's like I don't know. Anybody ever shout out like anything from Earl's?
Nah.
We
ain't. Earl's came late because Earl's is a Don Jaguar. He used to rap. He was kind of down with Ice Cube or whatever. So Earl's was popping like 93, 94, but it wasn't popping like the restaurant mecca it is now. It was like a little hole in the wall right on the corner of Crenshaw and Vernon. And you like, man, six people, if six people was in there, you probably standing like this. Like it was really small. So the Earls you see today is like going to a park that has just a merry-go-round and going to Disneyland. Like it's two totally different.
Greg, I'm gonna tell you something. I've been here so long. I've been to all three iterations of Earl.
That's right.
But yeah, I've actually had the Players Punch over there,
man.
At the first location in the missing chicken breast sandwich, which they need to add back.
Okay, you've been so real quick.
You two are similar.
How so?
Because we talk about food.
y'all similar. Yeah, y'all go into detail and y'all describe a place based upon the food item of choice.
hey. So how do you come from New Jersey to LA, not get chewed up and spit out, and acclimate to the whole situation, and just like, the interesting thing about you're from the East Coast, you're in the West Coast, and I'm sure you've adapted to it, but it hasn't changed who you are, which is amazing. Because usually when people come here from somewhere else, they're so blown back by the culture, you know what I'm saying, that they just kind of
they lose
themselves, man.
Man, I'm a black man, and fortunately I was raised on, like, I guess, conscious hip hop and Islam, and you know what I mean, being able to self-identify. So no matter where I'm going, I feel like my family is just over my shoulder. You know what I mean? So, you got to represent, you got to maintain all your values you were raised with. And, you know what I mean?
I've never seen you lose it, man. I've never seen you lose it. Me, the younger me out on nights of debauchery to these nice little, spots you DJing or whatever. If I was down for some debauchery, I was not heading in Kaleem's direction. Kaleem was the person setting the soundtrack. Was setting the soundtrack for whatever was about to go down. But yeah, man, always kept his nose clean, man. Dope. So real quick, one of the dopest things. And dude, I like, man, I'm not jocking you. Like anybody who thinks I'm jocking Kaleem, look up his Pevin Everett, his two mixes of Pevin Everett, and you'll see like that's what really just got me on you, man. I was like, dang, back before people were using Pro Tools to make mixtapes and Logic and Reason and all this technology to make mixtapes, you had went and did a 2-part mix on Pevin Everett, and you had gotten interviews and all kind. And dude, this was like prior to the technology, and it was amazing that somebody had that much dedication. Like, put it this way, I know that you didn't go into a studio with 16 tracks and, you know, a great idea and, you know, all this produced stuff. You took your time and you set the vision and you made it happen. So with that being said, what made you want to pour into the Pevin Everett mixtapes, or was that just your mixtape style? And at the time, if you did some certain mixtapes, you just really did your research and got interviews and all these bits and pieces of content to roll into your mix?
Honestly, it was spur of the moment. Like, I'm pretty sure by the time I recorded that, I had been listening and collecting his music for so long and enjoying it to myself or with, you know, a handful of people that I felt like, why not? You know what I mean? This dude done put together umpteen albums, umpteen singles, umpteen remixes. Somebody needs to compile this in a manner and that makes it unobjectionable to any listener. So,
Man,
you know, it's really, you know, to his credit. Like, I don't, you know, I could do those mixes better, you know what I mean? But I was literally one take Jake in that thing. Like, it's, you know, he has so many songs that
Jeremy, you and your wife, I'm gonna send you the link, man.
Okay.
Y'all fall in love again, man. You know what
oh
I'm saying?
man.
Y'all fall. You know what I'm saying? The old hardened heart that I got right now, I have to be very selective when I listen to that mix. It's, I got it at the office, so I used to bump it when I first moved into my to the warehouse we have right now. But yeah, those mixes were done. So how did you get the interviews? Was that when him speaking and all that kind of, like, how did you get that?
Those were quick ones. I think one is with Giles Peterson, another one was with Garth Trinidad. I think it's just 2 interviews that I took pieces from.
But did you get it off of YouTube?
No.
Because YouTube wasn't like, that was when you did those mixes, YouTube wasn't what YouTube is today. It was
no. I guess I was getting out the digital mud still. I think that's, if I was grabbing things at that time, it might have been Napster,
okay,
or another piece of software. Because man, let me tell you, the year 2000, 2001, when all the file sharing stuff started, I fell back in love with music again, because it was things coming your way that you didn't know existed. You know, like I remember getting advanced copies of albums like Devin the Dude, or The Second Little Kim, or Doomsday MF Doom, or you know, 2001, the Chronic album. Like, all of those came out in advance of them hitting the street. And this is how far I was going. I would download the albums, go to work on a Saturday with a cassette deck and record them. I didn't have a CD burner at that time. So, you know, you get it how you live, as they say. But by the time we fast forward to like Pevin Everett, like between 2003 and probably 2008, it was like I was just, constantly trying to find music from him, whether it's in Amoeba Records or online. He was constantly putting stuff out.
Man.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about it, I had the pleasure of meeting Pevin, and it was crazy. I never forget, we had Brown and I had flown. We had left the night before. We left the afternoon before flying to London, and Bobby Womack had he had passed away, and so they had a new single that the Gorillas were doing with Pevin, and then I think they ended up asking him to do a couple of the Bobby songs, which one of them Brown performed with him, several times and whatnot. But I remember the first, so we get to the venue almost directly from the airport, and I'm such in awe to see him. I'm just like, damn, that's Kevin Everett. Like, dang. So that night after the show, we go to shoot the video at a club. So go to the club, and I'm really kicking it with Kevin Everett, talking to him, and like I probably was jocking him. I absolutely probably was. But the thing about him that was amazing to me was that he played so many instruments. He could sing, and the passion in his songwriting, I just kind of feel like he's made some house type of music songs, but I feel also that he's just like a really, and he would probably get mad if I said this, but like I'm not gonna say neo soul. I'm gonna say he's a soul artist. Like I felt like he was a contemporary soul artist, somebody that could sing and play music, and you could feel like a different kind of a way. And you just don't have artists like that. Like not contemporary at that time when he was doing what he was doing. It was like you had older versions of that, but you didn't have someone that was like kind of in our age group that was doing that.
For sure. That brother is, as they say, like one of those once in a lifetime kind of people. Like there'll probably not be another like him. There's people as prolific, but I don't know if they've done as much recording as him, and I'll tell you this, as a kid, I enjoyed listening to the radio and hearing hip hop songs and not necessarily having to know who the artist was. It's just, if you record it, you record it, or if you remember the chorus, you remember the chorus, and maybe you hear it again. But it's like, it wasn't about me tangibly having it. It's just, you felt it, and you just hope that it caught on and you hear it again. So with Pevin's music, it's like, man, he's so underground with it that it's coming from, his authentic self, because he just has to put it out. And, he might not care like about the packaging or the mix and things like that. He's just knocking it out. And it's just like, who else, does that? Like, maybe Stevie Wonder was doing that, in the 70s when he was winning all those Grammys back to back. But, and obviously Prince, but we don't get to know that about a musician so often. So that's what makes him special.
So
yeah. So I have to ask this question because basically I feel like the word gets thrown around a lot. And I actually recently just had an experience that I'll tell you about after your answer, which made me go, man, this is like damn near on life support. But what qualifies a person as a DJ?
Ooh, I wish I could give you a rounded amount of hours.
That's a good start, though.
Dude, man, like, so there's times when I still don't feel worthy of that title, and
what?
not technically, but I came up under the auspices of a community of DJs in New Jersey. And it's just like, once they got to the level of like doing consistent events or high school parties or whatever, it's just like, I made this happen. It's like nobody gave you anything. And you had to be ready for a battle or something like that. You had to be able to mix. You had to be able to play club music, house music, and hip hop and some R&B. You had to be multifaceted. And so say that's 1990 when I first got my first pair of turntables and started to buy vinyl. By the time I was confident enough, it was the year 2000.
You put the time in, man.
It's the time. It's the
10,000 hours.
Yeah, it's that 10,000 hours. It's that R&D, that research and development. So what was your story you're gonna tell?
Yeah, fine. So I was just at a wedding in Atlanta this past weekend, and man, felt really bad because there was several things that were going haywire, but I feel like a lot of those things could have been overlooked if the DJ was on point. The DJ, man, during when the ceremony, first of all, his mix was off. I mean, he played like Nelly, and then he played like Kirk Franklin, and then followed up with Nelly, Hot in Here. Like it didn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? And we was outside too. It just felt wrong. Then I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like it's just DJ is one of those things that when it's done, like I don't want to overstate this, but when it's done seamlessly, you barely notice anything's happening. You're just having a good time, right? But there's several moments where we just went like, huh? Like, yo, and this is the ceremony for the wedding. So my girl was in the wedding and she was walking down the aisle, and during the part where she walks down the aisle, music just stops. Technical mistake. It happens, right? Whatever. My problem was homeboy, he had his bow tie undone, staring at the board like, ugh. And I can tell in that moment, he didn't know what was going on. Part of me wanted to help. I wanted to go like, yo, brother, yo. And then the pastor had a little personal microphone, but the wind was blowing and you can hear all the noise of the environment. It's like, dearly beloved, we are gathered. Like somebody's taking a bad order in Wendy's, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't understand. But all these things, I just felt like had there been somebody who was a little more, and it might not even be a 10,000 hours thing, because I felt like they had a second DJ like towards the end of the reception. And I don't know this kid, but he just gave me more real DJ energy. You know what I'm saying? Where he just put the headphones on. He was rocking, man. He didn't care what was going on, man. He was like, he just doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, yo, why wasn't this dude there in the beginning? So it's just, I just feel like even if you not like totally comfortable with the music, you know what I mean? If you just see the DJ doing this, like, you be like, okay, this dude know what he's doing. It's me. You know what I'm saying? Every time we looked at this dude, he looked like he left his reading glasses at home. He was like, ugh. So, I mean, he threw, I'm not gonna lie, he threw off the wedding. It was like 3 separate times. Wow. It just was moments where it was like, who is running this? Dude. So it just made me kind of ask the questions, because, I had a wedding recently. It's not even just limited to weddings, but just, the art of DJing, it's like, I say since the invention of iPods, I feel like the concept of what makes a person a DJ has been in question. You know what I mean? So that's why I just want to ask you, as a professional with, all this amount of, these accolades and this respect that you've garnered over the years, like, what do you personally, I understand it's a broad topic, you know what I mean? But what do you personally go like? What do you personally go like, yo, this person, like, yo, that's what a DJ is. You having a hot playlist that you like, yo, my playlist is the best playlist is not a DJ.
Real quick, Jeremy. And I'm not gonna throw him under the bus and I ain't gonna do whatever. One thing I have seen is the look on his face when a lesser talented DJ was trying to pull it with the snap, crackle, and pop going on. And he didn't bad talk anybody, but I saw the look on the face that let me know that he understood what was going on. We both understood what was going on as it was going on. And, you know, so he as humble as Kaleem may be, well-mannered, whatnot, very well-spoken, he does know the difference between something of art and the phony baloney. You know what I'm saying? The phony baloney.
And also, I like to preface this by saying, like, you know, you could be a professional, make a mistake. You know what I'm saying? You know, like Tiger Woods, I've seen plenty of times he'll mess up. He had that look on his face. You know, he throw his club. This is not what we're talking about. I'm talking about it looked like I'm trying to tell you, dude was like, ooh. What does that say? Oh, man. Ooh. I'm trying to tell you. I was like, do you need me? Bro, I got you if you need. You know what I'm saying? Like, but anyway, yo, floor is yours.
Dude, a wedding is one of those, if anything's gonna go wrong, it's gonna happen at a wedding. Like, okay. One of my rougher ones, I'm DJing for my homegirl. The ceremony starts just about 3 hours late. And I'm just doing the reception. So during the reception, it's going good for maybe an hour. And they're prepping the food in the kitchen. But then what do we get? We get the fire alarm.
Wow.
So, you know, being a respectable gentleman, I turn the music off and let the fire alarm rock. You know, we got to figure out what's going on. Maybe air the kitchen out or something. But then I get heckled by, you know, somebody at the table in front of me. Man, turn the music on. Over the alarm. Really? So then it went all the way bad. They're consistently chiding me and I'm threatening them. I turn it up a notch. Dude, I'll throw this turntable at you. You know what I mean? And oh, man. It was like I was ready for it to go up because it's like I'm here as a friend. This is not even a professional capacity for me. And you giving me static? Wowee. But yeah, you got to come prepared, man. I mean, even the novice should have a go-to play button on something, you know, some sort of default. Something to get you out of a jam. But for me, it was just, you know, wait until the time was right. You know.
What's your secret talent?
Huh?
I said, what's your secret talent?
Oh, man. It's not a secret no more. I'm telling most of these people who are in these DJ schools that they don't need to learn how to scratch before they learn how to mix.
Yeah.
That's that, like you said, you want a seamless transition into things. You want to not know what the DJ is doing. You just want to enjoy yourself. You know, I don't want you looking at me. You know what I mean? Like, enjoy yourself on the dance floor. Don't worry about what I'm doing. I'm like I'm the whiz behind the curtain. You know what I mean?
One of the most uncomfortable things that I ever saw as a patron. You've been here long enough. I don't know if you remember when Jennifer Lopez owned part of the conga room that was off of Wilshire.
Okay.
And it was upstairs. You had to walk upstairs to the little club or whatever. And it was one of Questlove's first time DJing. Now this was around Black Planet time, so it wasn't any like cell phones barely had a camera on them, like barely. I want to say I was probably I had a Palm at the time. It's not a Palm, a BlackBerry, but it was
Palm
no
Pilot?
iPhone heard of or whatever. And Questlove was DJing, and you had about 200 people standing in front of him, and they're just staring at him, and I was just like, "What's going on here, man?" It was just too much for me. I walked out the room. I was like, "Man, this is too much."
Dude, that's the new norm, man. Stand there and watch the DJ, regardless of what they're doing. Oh, it's the oddest part of nightlife, man. You paid money to look at me, you might as well be on Zoom.
Yeah.
So we have a chat going. The chat's popping, so I gotta ask a couple questions for the chat. First one is by Gun Lee. What's your favorite album? What was that? Oh, snap. Okay.
So
R.I.P. Biz. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Biz. Let's see. Got another one. Is Adrian Young still making music?
Oh man, is he? That's my answer. Of course. Shoot.
And then yeah, top what's your top 3 DJs?
Whoa. Oh man. I was thinking about him today, so I'm gonna say Jazzy Jeff for sure.
Man.
The next 2 is just gonna be off the cuff. Top? Wow, why am I drawing the blank? Okay, Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, DJ Premier, and then here's your third.
Who would you come out the house on a weeknight? Who would you come out the house on? Because that's how I felt when I was going to see you and Al. I'd be like, man, these dudes pull me out the house, man, on school night. You know what I'm saying? Who would you come out to see on a school night?
Oh man, again. This dude.
When he was at Kiss and Grind. Oh my God, that was a night.
Well, my favorite night of seeing him was he DJ'd the listening party of It Was Written, the Nas album at the El Capitan Theater.
Oh wow.
Dude, we broke in there like the fire marshals that shut it down in front, and I damn sure was getting in there. So, you know, we did what we had to do through the kitchen to get in there, and Biz was, you know, he did not disappoint. So that's 2. Number 3, I'll give it to Jazzy J.
Jazzy J.
Okay. Yeah, from Zulu Nation. Just because I saw him, this is like 2006 when Serato was like early, and he was swift on Serato. And I'm like, this is one of the originals. How is he still technically sound?
And dude, like it's almost like you think of old school dudes, it's like they reading Braille, like for them to live in this digital world, man. If it wasn't for Brown, dude, I'm so disconnected from technology, man. I am so like I can, you know.
Don't be that person, man. Don't be him. Don't be him. Oh man, that was I'm sure we've all given tech support to some relatives or a sibling or something like that. It's the most frustrating thing ever. I'm praying I don't ever become that person. I'm sure that time is going to come. Right now, I'm fighting it.
Yeah. So tell me this, man. What job is giving you the best life experience?
I want to say being a tour DJ from between 2004 and like 2009, I was on the road with EA Sports. And I call it my second childhood simply because we had that much fun.
Mhm.
You know, you said life experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a city we stopped in, you know, maybe with the exception of Colorado and some others where they called the police on us, that I didn't say I could live here. Like I remember Lincoln, Nebraska, Minneapolis, doggone where were we at? Iowa, you know, random places. I'm like, yo, I might not see no black folks, but I see like a sprinkling of Africans, you know, some East Africans. I'm like, yo, I could do this, you know, if I needed to. And that gives you a little bit of hope for the United States and stuff. You know, I did obviously that was a long time ago, but you know, in this day and age, we all need an escape plan. You know what I mean? Or at least somewhere to dip. So having traveled the United States as a DJ and tour support was one of my best jobs. My favorite job is being a student, you know, because I'm a geek. Like I love not messing things up, solving the problems and you know, regurgitating information, I guess. I'm a horrible writer, but I love test taking. So being a student is a great job. I went back to school in like 2010 and I got like straight A's, and like I'm trying to like brag to my eldest sister. She's like, that's what we do. I was completely deflated.
In your senior year of high school, what did you think you would be when you graduated?
Ooh. When I graduated from high school, I was making beats for a homeboy of mine, and I figured we were going to possibly take a shot at getting signed. So I thought I was going to be knee deep in hip hop. And in retrospect, you know, like at times with one of my homeboys, we laugh and say, man, had we going out there and gotten signed and did this, that, and the third, you know, we would have turned out a whole other way. You know, so I like sobering moments like that I could kind
of. So living in LA, your second home, you not falling victim to it, but I'm sure you've seen many people fall victim to the allure of Los Angeles. We got a special part of the podcast. We've skipped it a couple weeks and whatnot, but it's called the Monkey Hustle Chronicles. It was inspired by someone who kind of got slicked for their, either it was a Facebook or Instagram account, I can't remember, or whatever, but they kind of got slicked out of it. You know, super hustle happened in the wee hours of the morning, just whatever. But it took them months to get the accounts back or whatever. Since living, so to the average eye, this looks like a brick. I keep it in my living room because it represents two other that are part of the triplets. I paid about $300 per brick under the guise that they were camcorders. So I keep them in my living room to remind me of the banana in the tailpipe, man. And this was when $300 was like $800. You know what I'm saying? So since being in LA, either you or someone you know, what's the craziest con that you've seen go down?
Man, do I dare? Holy smokes. I mean, I've probably bought a few bricks in some form of fashion. I know when Craigslist was early, I became a member of like a DJ brokerage, and it was actually a legitimate business. They sent me on 2 jobs. The first job, and I had never met them. We only did business over the phone. Guy says, go down to Redondo Beach. We got an 80s party for you. I'm like, okay. And it's only like, it might have only been about 2 hours. So I go down there with like kind of a handful of records. And the 80s party went well. I didn't have Milli Vanilli, and I did not have the Madonna records they wanted, but that was cool. They was out of there. But then they held me over. They're like, uh-oh, we got an actual DJ. Let's hold them over for the rest of the night. So I end up doing the rest of the night. A fight breaks out. And I kind of took that as a compliment from where I'm from. Fight break out at a party. That's kind of like, okay, you had them, with a little bit of gusto up in here or something. And so they sent me on my second gig. I don't know if you remember the venue Yankee Doodles on the 3rd Street Promenade.
Yeah.
Okay. So they send me there for a gig. They said, this will be easy. There's no cabaret license at the Yankee Doodle. So all you got to do is play music. It's not going to be no dance. But the one caveat is they don't want you to play any hip hop. I'm like, oh, that's totally fine. I'm a child of the 80s. I got some MTV era stuff. Let's get it. And I'm listening to some new things, or whatever. I get in there, of course. What are the employees ask me for? Little Kim and R. Kelly. Specifically. So I do a good job. I got people in there dancing, even though they ain't supposed to. I go home, whoop-de-whoop. I get a phone call maybe the next week, and they say, Kaleem, what'd you do at Yankee Doodles? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, they fired the regular DJ. Again, another feather to my cap. I'm like, well, they asked for me to come back. So I don't know what happened with the regular DJ. And I'm, in that capacity, I was just like kind of like a substitute DJ for these gigs or whatever. And so I think the way I explained myself kind of turned them off, like they knew at that point, I knew what I was doing. I wasn't some, kid just showing up with, Serato or some CDs and throwing songs on back to back without, making it sound good. And they never did business with me again. And supposedly I owed them some money. So maybe that's not a brick, but
that's a hustle though. That's definitely a hustle.
They definitely did, because I ain't make too much. I ain't make
haterisms and
I'm trying to think of something crazy.
You live in LA, man. You done seen it, man, or you done heard it, either or.
I mean, I done seen a lot, man. There's been people who have, lost things.
I'm gonna give you one real quick.
Okay.
Quincy Jones's daughter dating LL Cool J. House party. It was before Cristal was popular. This had to be about like 91, 92. Quincy Jones's daughter walks into the party with a case of Cristal, and she might as well have walked in with $5,000 in her hand. Like, dude, it was like, I had never been around nothing like that before. So I was one of the DJs that was there to spin records, but the main DJ guy who they kind of paid to do it, I was kind of cruising on Pharcyde Love. So I wasn't like a great DJ, but I could do a little something, but it was more like at the time, like passing me by, like people were just like I don't even think Bizarre Ride was out at the time. It was like everybody had heard the album. It was like in the buzz of the streets and everything. So for me to get a club gig, for me to just hop on and spend 2 or 3 records at a party that was like a cracking, it was like nothing. It was like giving. So anyway, I was one of 2 people that had the Pete Rock Microphone Checker remix as soon as it came out on wax. So I'm up there and I'm talking to all the DJs and I'm like, ooh, I'm about to drop it. I said, ooh, I know I'm not going to be on that long, but for the little 3 records that I get, I'm going to drop it. Boom. I dropped the Pete Rock Microphone Checker remix. Everybody like, damn, boom, boom, boom. Everybody like, damn. Oh, LL Cool J was there. You know, it was going down. So anyway, I walk away, go to get a plate of food, whoop, 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 go back to my little DJ bag. The record is gone. I was hotter than cayenne pepper, man. I raised hell with nobody coming up off of it. It was just kind of like, so what? So yeah, that was a monkey hustle for sure.
My least favorite thing is losing stuff. So somebody jacks a record. Oh man, I better not know it.
Oh man, your dude Mark Love used to steal records from me all the time. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't come out. I want to say he told Big Boy. He told somebody when he because he only went out with the Pharcyde for about maybe 4 or 5 months. Like it wasn't a long stretch or nothing like that. But for the little time that he did, like him and Big Boy were very good friends. Like they would, because Big Boy's bodyguard or whatever, they would talk or whatever. And I want to say it was Big Boy that he told, or he told somebody, and they were like, Smooch, you know Mark Love be stealing your records, right? You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh man, here we go.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? That's the life of a DJ, man. So have you had that happen since you've been in LA, where a record ended up missing out your bag? Not that you noticed.
I ain't gonna speak on it because
You're
that stuff I ain't gonna laugh at. I tell you what, I got bamboozled. This is 2013. Again, messing around with the internet, dude. I had been to a counselor who was advising me about trying to, you know, put my best foot forward and looking for opportunities, use my network to find, you know, creative things. And so I'm reaching out to people, maybe on Craigslist again. And this promoter / agent guy hits me up about an opportunity coming up at Maestro's in Beverly Hills. They're opening up a new floor and they're auditioning DJs. So I get there and they actually made us audition. So I bring my CDJs set up in there and play a set. And it was fine. You know, I had so much music at that time. And I met a guy, you might know him. His name is Jeffrey Epstein. I think he works for Universal. Yeah.
You might know him. That's hilarious.
I'm not saying that to be funny, but that's literally the brother's name. And he played his set. He was nice with it too. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see how this plays out. So I get a call maybe the next day or something. You got it. We need you here, you know, Wednesday at 5 p.m. or whatever. So I get off of work early. I bring all my gear. I get somewhat dressed. I get to the point where I'm about to load into the elevator to go up to the 2nd floor of Maestro's. And I'm like, before I do that, let me just go up there and see what's going on. I get off the elevator and they got Slim, Kardashian, Paris, whoever, up there with her DJ rig and a gown on or whatever. And I'm like, wait a minute. You know, like they didn't need to explain nothing to me. I just turned right back around, got my car. And I was trying to send dude an invoice, but of course he's in Las Vegas and don't know nothing. La da 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 la da 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 da. So yeah, that was a brick right there for me. Cause you know, it's like, man, that's an opportune environment for me. You know what I mean? The Beverly Hills folks wouldn't have seen me coming, but they would have enjoyed what they got. You know.
The good part about that story, if it was me, I wouldn't have been able to turn around just easy. You know what I'm saying? I probably would have, which it would have been all bad. It would have been wrong. Like you did the right thing. like Spike Lee's movie, you did the right thing. Because if you would have kicked up some dust, man, you would have been hogtied, carried out. It just got horrible.
I don't think I had a point of contact in order to do that. Like, you know, if there was a focal point for me to like kind of aim at, then maybe. I can't say that I've ever done that, but there's been some moments where a flare up may have occurred. I'll not address those.
I got a short one for you. So in May of this year, I went to do Yonkers Comedy Club. You may have remembered because I announced it on the show. Anyway, I was supposed to be opening for this comedian who's, you know, I say semi-famous, you know, tours with Chappelle, some bigger comic, whatever. So when I go to New York for the gig, the comic, as soon as I land, I get there, the comic tells me that, hey, I'm pulling out of the show. You know, I just don't trust the booker doesn't, you know, he was the owner or whatever. He didn't have the money that he said it was going to cost for me to be there. But I made sure he take care of you and you can still be on the show. And I'm giving you my hotel room and all this stuff. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll just see how this works. You know, you know, I already had made my way there. So and mind you, this ain't New York, you know what I mean? Like I know my way around New York. This is Yonkers.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get to the gig, you know, I get to the gig and the guy, he was like, the lady who I was open for told me to call dude and make sure my hotel and stuff is secure, right? So I'm calling him, like, hey man, I just want to make sure my hotel's secure, whatever, blah blah blah. And he's like, yeah, we'll figure it out. You know, yeah, let me just he said, I'll call you tomorrow. I was like, no, he said, I'll call you back. Yeah, I'll call you tomorrow, whatever he says, right? It's like 3 days for the gig, right? 2 days for the gig. Yo, man, you know, hey, I'm glad to be working with you, man. Just want to make sure everything's straight. Yeah, everything's straight. Yeah. Just want to make sure I got my hotel together. First sign something was going wrong. He was like, yeah, you know, I'll do it for her, but you know, we normally don't do hotels for feature acts. And I was like, well, I don't care what you normally do. You know, I was told something, and I ain't got no place to be. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't got no. Only reason I'm here is to do your gig. And then he goes, yeah, I'll take care of you, whatever. But, you know, I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't have to do it. And I was like, all right, bro. All right. He's like, all right, but
you got it. You got it. It's your world.
He said, I'm gonna call somebody for you. And they'll let you know, right? So day of the gig, day of the gig, he said, yo, I'm gonna have somebody. He said, when we get in, we'll figure it all out as soon as you get here. Like, bet. I show up early, waiting around to talk to somebody. I kind of already knew in my head, I had my whole situation kind of set up to where if something go down, I can just bounce in my head, right? So the dude ain't even there for the first show, but a nice lady walks up to me. She goes, hey, yeah, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm supposed to be taking care of your hotel room, this and that. So I was like, okay, that's a little professional. Okay, cool, thank you. He said somebody, they sent somebody, right? So she figuring stuff out. So then I do the first show. After I do the first show, he's finally there, right? So they say, hey, Jeff's over there. So I go talk to him. And then he goes, yeah, he goes, he puts his hand on my shoulder. He goes, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. He said, they saying you bombed. I was like, I didn't bomb, bro. He was like, yeah, he said, that's not what they saying. And I was like, well, ask the people. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't really get into the politics of how well I perform and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just come and show up and work. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if the people ain't saying I bombed, then, you know, but whatever. He's like, all right, we'll see. Like that. So then I was like, what the heck? So then I'm still waiting for the lady. And the lady gone. And she came to me twice about the hotel room. She's gone, right? Do the second show, right? I killed. There's no question. It was like crazy. I killed. Dude was nowhere to be found, right? So, and I even had some people come out to see me. Some people came out. They said, hey, you want to go get a drink? You want to do this and that? I'm like, I'm sorry. I got to see where I'm staying. I don't even know where I'm staying tonight, right? So then, you know, after some dancing, the show's still going on. I was dancing around. Finally, I go up to do. I was like, "Yo, so yeah, man, it's like midnight at this point." I'm like, "Yo, man, so what's going on with the?" Because the second show's a 10 o'clock show, and I had shows after that to do. I was like, "Hey, so what's the deal with the hotel situation?" He was like, "Oh, she didn't give it to you." I was like, "No." He was like, "Oh, hey, give him the address for the hotel." And I walk over to the girl. She's like, yeah, here's the address on a piece of paper. Here's the address. And then he goes, yeah. He goes, here's the money. He pulls out $120. He goes, here, man, you just go and pay them that. Are you good, right? So then I'm like, yo, that didn't even feel right. Man, you know, I'm around janky promoters all the time, bro. And that was like the dirtiest situation I ever been in, bro. I'm good with a Motel 6. I ain't tripping. That didn't feel right. He just gave me an address, no name of the hotel. I went to the back, Googled the hotel. Man, it is like, you know, what's one of those, you know what I mean? Like you just take somebody through, you know what I'm saying? Like it's, you know, I don't know, a smash hotel, whatever you call.
Snooty
yeah,
Fox.
man, not even, man. I think that's classy. So I just know it was a 1-star hotel. I don't care about stars. The picture, the main picture that popped up was a loaded condom.
I never heard somebody say that before, man.
Bro,
I never heard somebody.
I didn't even care no more after that. I just go looking for hotels. I didn't even talk to him. Man, he come to the back. He said, yo, what you doing? I was like, I'm just looking for hotels, bro. He was like, yo, you don't like real accommodations? I was like, yo, you playing with me, bro. I ain't got time for this. He was like, what? He started laughing. I was like, yo, if you just hate me, just say you hate me. You ain't got to do all this. he was like, what, man? No, he said, yo, I'm not the one who even promised you that. That was her. I didn't say anything, dog. I was like, yo, she said you was going to have me stay in her hotel. He was like, you're not the headliner. And I said, hey, bro, I'm not here to argue. I'm just saying you put me in a bad position. You know what I mean? So he goes, all right. So he put him and his team to find me hotels. They found me a hotel. He gave me like what, $400. He was like, here, yo, it's on me, blah, blah, blah. But you talk about after like, it's like 2 a.m. at this point.
Hey, man, let me tell you something, man. Yeah. I've shared that same ambition with you, man. I've been out on as a manager and tour manager. I've been out and like, man, we both gonna be uncomfortable up in this mud because I'm not letting you out my sight, man.
Dog, I'm not even leaving until I'm like, yo, I don't have no place to be. But then, yeah, this is the next day I came in. He done called like these big comics to verify me. And then when he heard some big people that he mess with me, then that's when he started showing me respect. Trash, man. It's because he didn't want me to go back and tell stories like this. Anyway, that's my monkey huxley thing. I had to save that one because honestly, it was hurting me. That was the same month I got married, by the way.
Hey, so I'm gonna come with this one on you, Kaleem. If you had a biopic, what would it be called?
Oh man. I want it to be called Colder Than a Rat's Ass.
Oh, yeah.
That's tight.
That's the saying. That's what my mother would describe the cold as when it was like wintertime. She'd be like, "It's colder than a rat's ass out there. Put your boots on."
When you would say that on, how did you? It almost sounded like you were using a vocoder or something on that Kevin Everett mix. How did you?
At that time, I had found a trial version of Auto Tune, and I Googled the settings that T-Pain uses. So I was just being silly with it.
Oh man, classic.
The
I think that
vocoder is my favorite. That's my favorite.
I think that's a hit. Colder than a rat's ass. I think that's a hit. Who would play you?
Oh man, that Hollywood homeboy from what's the name of that show? Queen Sugar.
Let me see.
I forget brother's name. I've met him. Oh man.
Jeremy's quick on the draw. He'll look it up immediately.
Good.
Hey, that is my homie. I was just talking to him last night.
You see the
He was at
resemblance?
he was at the Comedy Store last night. Yeah. Omar Dorsey. Yeah, he cool.
Yeah, he got the job easy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not even no question, bro. Hold on. Dang, I'm about to text this fool. Yo, that's crazy.
I needed to be just as bad as Notorious though. If it's a good movie, that's they don't get the rights.
Holding the rats. That's got an Oscar written all over it. What?
All biopics have to be terrible.
Oh man, oh man, that's hey.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you one of the coldest things I've seen on the internet. They had a picture of Chuck Berry, and he was playing with John Lennon, and Yoko Ono was there, and she was just abstractly bellowing out tones. It was the worst thing ever. And you know, my little secret, whatever, I like to read comments. So I went to go read the comments, and somebody said they called homeboy out by name, but they said the dude that shot they said the dude that shot John Lennon shot the wrong person.
That's wild. That's wild.
Oh
wild.
man.
I saw that clip, and yeah, I agree. God.
Oh, it was horrible, man. It was like a dog, man. It was like a dog howling, man. It was, oh man. And Chuck Berry was just back there, and he was just looking. And John Lennon, and I was just like, oh man, he was just caught up in something. The relationship was just beyond him, man. It was beyond him. There was no way she's supposed to be out there on that stage, like doing what she was doing. But with that being said, man, I'm gonna hit you with the last question. We made it out of COVID, you know. With that, we adjusted to a lot of technology. Things opened back up again. When they opened back up again, it went from being a whole bunch of little shows and a whole bunch of little concerts to, you know, festivals almost every weekend. You know what I'm saying? So as far as somebody spending money to, let's see, one artist, they're probably spending right around 125, 130, up to 200. And you're seeing like every contemporary artist with a sprinkle of some other stuff going on off up in there. With what you've seen and where we're going, how do you see social progression? And to add a little context to it, so before COVID, you know, everybody was outside. You know what I'm saying? It was, you know, going out to clubs, going out to shows, festivals, just whatever. COVID happens, crickets. Everybody's isolated. Everybody's fearful of getting ill. As a matter of fact, the first jam I went to after COVID, I got COVID 2 days later. Like, well, I'm sure I got it there, but I got it 2 days later. And the cold twist was I wasn't even supposed to go in. I was going up there to drop off something to somebody. And I did some merch for somebody there. And I went and dropped off the merch, and I was like, oh man, it's about 1,000 people here. You ain't been out forever, man. Just go on in, man. Have a drink, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. I go on a Saturday night. The next Tuesday, I'm getting ready for Splendid and sending Jeremy the questions, and my nose don't stop running. And I had a COVID test in my living room, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take it. That shit came back positive in 2 minutes. I was like, oh man, it got me. So with all that being said, man, where do you see social progression going in the next 2 years?
Oh man. As my mother would say, all hell is breaking out. Number one, I'm not a fan of the large festival, because at best, if they do load the lineup with good acts, you're going to miss some of them. Or if you're like me, you're not going to want to pay a premium. You got $250 concerts, and I would rather space that out with smaller shows for the individual artists, maybe without an opening act. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely about a smaller government when it comes to the festival. I'm happy to see people excited to go out, but even back in the day, I was kind of the dude that if I do get into a concert, I might be chilling in the back. Like there's a rare number of shows where you can spot me in the front. I think I went and saw the Purple Tape show in the front with Raekwon, and I got sick after that. I remember that because I was dressed too heavy. So yeah, I need some smaller shows. I don't know. I mean, we outside, but I feel like we might be headed back towards, pandemic light or something prior to the election next year or something.
Wow, you the second person I heard say that, man.
I'm not trying to talk that into, at all, but
yeah,
we ain't over it. I've heard some people getting ill again.
Yeah.
Last week, homeboy.
Who? What?
I said last week, my homeboy. He got sick. Yeah, he said he was out. He was just doing regular activities, and he said just which that's crazy because that was how I got with COVID. Like my nose was running, but he's like, man, I was out, and then I just got tired. He's like, I was standing up, and I was like, man, I need to sit down. And he was like, so. So with that being said, man, I really appreciate you, man, Kaleem. This was a great conversation. We didn't even touch, man. It was a whole bunch we didn't touch, but I ain't tripping. We're gonna revisit in a couple of months, something like that. So with that being said, where can people go to see your music, hear your music?
Man, first off, Google me, DJ Kaleem, DJKALEEM, as in Margaret. I have a whole 18 episodes of a show called The Cooler Side of Crenshaw on Mixcloud. And that's all brand new, like R&B. Like if you like that cleaning the house type, boat ride, you know what I mean? In the house or out with your girl on the patio.
The morning after.
Music. Cooler Side of Crenshaw, man. And what that means is it represents not a location, but an attitude. So like, I live off of Crenshaw Boulevard. We going through gentrification. Crenshaw has somewhat of a notorious or infamous reputation, but I represent the cooler side of that. You know what I mean? And that's what the sound of the show sounds like it's still us presenting it, but it's on a lighter note. you know. So yeah, mixcloud.com/DJ Kaleem is where you can find me. Also, I got an event that I do called Mingle and Play. We are in our 18th year. Whew.
Man.
That's one of the hottest and the very first game party event that you've seen in the United States. So I'm proud to say that, you know, I was a part of it and still am. And that goes down at Der Wolf in Pasadena. The site you can go to is mingleandplay.com. Yep.
Nah, dope. And your Instagram and Facebook?
Instagram, DJ Kaleem, DJ Kaleem. Facebook is private. Get away from me.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Man, that's a wasteland though. I mean, Facebook is kind of where I go to check on, you know, my family and
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Nah, dope. And what's up with you, Jeremy? What you got coming up?
All right. So let's see. Tomorrow, September 27th, I'll be at K Sarah in Long Beach. I'll get your address for that just in case you want to come.
Yeah.
Because my boy Willie Mack is on there. I think we've had him on the show.
Oh, come on, man. I'm gonna have to step out.
Yeah. Then Thursday, I'll be at a show called Bigger Than Me Comedy Show, located at the Vault in Santa Ana. Starts at 8:30. And then this weekend, I'll be in Boston, the 29th through October 1st. Yeah, I'll be in Boston, this place called, I can do this, Anchor. Yeah, the Anchor. I was gonna say Anchor Bar. It's not true. It's called the Anchor. I have all that on my Instagram. And by the morning. So yeah. And I don't know. I might be going to New York after that, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, that's it.
So, well, nah, man, this has been another episode of Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV. Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Kaleem.
Of course.
Yeah.
Peace.